Hi guys, it's me HD and welcome to a review of day 2 for pre-season testing in 2019, where today we are going to look at how the teams got on in day 2, another sunny day in Spain. Look at how they got on, the times they did, what tyres they were using, and just really analyse how all of their days went. And also, I will give an update as to the situation at Williams. But here we are for the review of day 2. Hopefully you guys in the chat are doing very well, as I'm sure you usually are. And I cannot wait to get into reviewing what happened here on day 2. But before we get into all of the teams and really start talking about how their days went, let's of course first go into the results. And here they are. So again, Ferrari are on top, this time though with Charles Leclerc on a 1:18.2. Then it's Lando Norris, but I'll get on to later why that lap time was a bit pumped up. I'll get onto that later on. Then you have Kevin Magnussen in 3rd, Albon 4th, Giovinazzi in 5th, Bottas 6th, Gasly in 7th, Hulkenberg 8th, Ricciardo 9th, and then Lewis Hamilton in P10. And also you have Lance Stroll in P11 and Pietro Fittipaldi also for Haas in P12. I'll get on to why he actually went out in the last, I think it was hour or 30 minutes of the session today. But those are your results. But now let's get into first your world champions Mercedes, who again are running on quite a lot of fuel. I think they were probably running slightly less fuel today, but still compared to say Ferrari, they are running quite a bit of fuel. But I will say again, and I said this yesterday, which by the way, if you did not see my review of day 1, it's in the description down below. Make sure to check that out. The Mercedes car, I don't know if this is because the car maybe doesn't perform that well on heavier fuel, but just watching it on track, it does look fast. You can't doubt that. It does look like a fast car, but it does also look like quite a hard car to drive. As you can see on your screen there, Lewis Hamilton locking up. Also, Valtteri Bottas in the afternoon went off at turn 1 and had to go across the escape road at turn 1. So this car to me seems so far to be a quick car, but it's not the easiest car to drive, especially compared to say the Ferrari car. So even though, you know, they're definitely not, you know, close to 2 seconds behind Ferrari, there is no way they are that far behind. But in terms of the handling, they don't look as good right now as Ferrari. So I think they might need to do a bit of work. And even Lewis Hamilton came out and said yesterday that this new Silver Arrow car, compared to last year's, handles quite a bit differently. Now, I don't think he meant that in a positive or a negative way, but we'll see what he means more as testing goes on. But yeah, even though they could go a lot faster, and I think they are still right there with Ferrari, this car doesn't look massively comfortable to drive. It does look quick, but again, it doesn't look that comfortable to drive. And it definitely does not look as comfortable to drive as the Ferrari, who again ended the day on top, with Charles Leclerc this time, who I don't think was, I know he wasn't as fast as Sebastian Vettel yesterday, who did a 1:18.1. Charles Leclerc today did a 1:18.2, so quite close, but still a good day for Charles Leclerc. The first real session he has done for Ferrari. And again, this Ferrari car, even though compared to Mercedes and even Red Bull, they are running quite a bit less fuel, this car looks so comfortable to drive, and even people at the track are saying that this car really does look very good. And definitely right now, if you're going to aim for a team to beat in terms of pace, right now it'd have to be Ferrari because their car just looks fast. It also, though, looks very comfortable to drive compared to the Mercedes, which, again, looks fast but doesn't look that comfortable to drive. So the Ferrari car is looking good. And also, again, they had another good day of reliability and ran quite a long time during today's testing. So good day for Ferrari once again. And Sebastian Vettel will step into the car tomorrow and we'll see if he can get below the 1:18 mark. But let's go on from Ferrari and let's go on to Red Bull. Now, for most of the day with Pierre Gasly, things were going well. The car looked quite good. They were running more fuel. They were going for, say, race simulations compared to, say, teams like Ferrari, McLaren, even Haas. So the car was looking good, but then with about an hour and a half to go in the session, Pierre Gasly crashed at turn 12 in quite a, I'm going to say it, quite a silly accident. Basically, I think he was pushing a bit too hard going into that corner. It is quite a difficult corner because it's a very quick left-hander and then immediately you have to go into a right-hand slow corner that is never ending. But I don't think he should have been pushing that hard when the day had gone so well up to that point. So a bit of a silly mistake there by Gasly, but before that he was doing very well, and Red Bull again doing very well. Good reliability from Honda, and the Red Bull car, for me, compared to what I thought it would look like, they are looking quite good going into the rest of testing, because I didn't think they would be this reliable with that new power unit. I thought they would have had a couple breakdowns by now, but they haven't. The only off-track moment has been Pierre Gasly crashing the car, which has nothing to do with the Honda engine. So good so far when it comes to reliability, but that crash by Pierre Gasly just put a damper on what was a very good day for Red Bull. But now let's go on to the midfield, and quite a lot happened for the midfield teams today. Daniel Ricciardo went out in the morning for Renault and was looking good in the Renault, but then when he had the DRS open, going down the main straight towards turn 1, his rear wing failed, and as you can see the rear wing there, the top part of it is no more. The top part of it flew off down the straight. Very scary accident. He spun off at turn 1 but did get going again and then cruised back to the pit lane. It does remind me, if anyone remembers, Kimi Räikkönen had a rear wing failure in 2002 for McLaren. It wasn't as violent as that one, but it is kind of similar. So that's the only real similarity in terms of this type of thing happening I can think of. But yeah, that's not a good thing. Of course, the rear wings for 2019 are different. The DRS gap is bigger, they're wider and higher. So maybe it's just that rear wing area, maybe they're struggling with it a bit. I don't know. But there you go, they had a rear wing failure. Also, I want to just note, the rear wing DRS gap looks a lot bigger than it did last year. It looks massive compared to last year. And hopefully that means more overtaking, but we will see. But then Nico Hülkenberg went out in the afternoon and had a good race simulation, did about 80 laps, I think, in the Renault. And basically today Renault were doing race simulations. They weren't really trying to go for proper lap times. But I will say one thing. The Renault car, it looks solid, quite good in terms of its aero, but it doesn't really catch your eye. It's nothing special. For example, the Alfa Romeo and the Haas to me look a lot more eye-catching than the Renault. The Renault doesn't look bad or anything, but it just doesn't really stand out when it goes round any of the corners. It looks like a very stable car under braking, over curbs, through the fast corners, but it doesn't really catch your attention. So I hope they can eventually go down to lower fuel, and maybe we will see something very special. But again, it looks like a solid car, but nothing that special. So hopefully we can see a bit more going forward from Renault. But now let's go on to McLaren, who with Lando Norris had a good day. Norris had no breakdowns as far as I'm aware during the testing day. And at the end of the session, he went second, only 0.3 of a second off Charles Leclerc. But just to let you guys know, before all you McLaren fans get massively overhyped and think that McLaren are back, he was on, I think, at least one step softer tyres compared to Charles Leclerc. It might have even been two. I will show you the information when it comes to what tyres people were using and the amount of laps they did. I'll get onto that later on. But one thing I do know is that Norris did his time on a softer compound. So don't think that the McLaren is that close to the Ferrari, because they definitely are not. But I will say two things. One, after watching an onboard lap from Carlos Sainz yesterday, this McLaren does seem to me to look a bit better than last year. And also, for any McLaren fans out there, you know, this year, 2019, all it has to be is just progress compared to 2018. The one thing I will say, which is a positive, is that if you compare these 2 days of testing you've had compared to the first 2 days of testing last year, McLaren look better so far compared to last year after the first 2 days of testing in terms of their car and also reliability, which is very, very important, especially in the first test. So things are looking better for McLaren, but don't jump the gun. They're not massively quick. I think we need to really wait until Renault, Mercedes, and even Racing Point really start to push their car harder to see how quick the McLaren car is. But talking of Racing Point, let's go on to them now. And again, a quiet day. Lance Stroll did quite a few laps for Racing Point, but they didn't really go for any lap times. I think they were basically just doing race simulations all day. But again, like the Renault, it looks like a solid enough car, but nothing that special. That might just be because they're running more fuel and you can't really see anything that special with the aerodynamics and the handling. But again, it doesn't look that special of a car. And also, I don't know why they only did, I think, was it 30 or 35 laps yesterday with Sergio Perez. But one thing I do know is that Racing Point have a massive upgrade package coming for the first race at Melbourne. That is one thing that has been basically confirmed. So the Racing Point car you're seeing now will be massively different once we get to the first race. So don't think that this is what Racing Point have. There is a lot more to come from this team for sure. But now let's go on to Alfa Romeo, who with Antonio Giovinazzi had a good day. I wouldn't say as good in terms of maybe the pace of the car compared to Kimi Räikkönen, but let's be honest, pace doesn't really matter in the first couple days of testing, even though you can find out if your car is quick or not in the first couple days if you do push it. Yeah, a good enough first day of testing for Giovinazzi. Nothing that special. The time he did, I believe, was on a softer compound of tyres. But yeah, a good enough day. Probably could have been quicker, but we don't know what program he is on. But yeah, I think a good enough day for Alfa Romeo and for Giovinazzi. And also, this Alfa Romeo it still does look very good. It does look good. And compared to last year, well, there's no comparison to be had. They are way ahead of where they were last year. Last year, they had probably the 9th fastest car at this point last year. This year, I'd say probably top 6 at the moment to me. So yeah, they're looking a lot better so far in testing compared to 2018. But one team for me that is getting overlooked and I think is really looking good is Haas. Their car, when I look at it on track, it does look like a good car. In the fast corners, in the slow corners, it just all around looks like a good, well-balanced car. Even Romain Grosjean said after he broke down yesterday that the Haas car for 2019 is good. And it does look like a good car. And I think this team is getting a bit overlooked in terms of talking points after the first couple of days of testing. Because again, their car looks good. They're up there in the times. They're doing plenty of laps, which is also very, very important. And I think people need to take a bit more notice of Haas during testing, because that car, when I look at it on track, it doesn't absolutely stand out, say like the Ferrari does, but it does look like, to me, a good car. And let's go on now to Toro Rosso, who ended the day well enough with Alexander Albon going up into P4, I think it was, on the C4 tyres. But the day really started off in a very embarrassing way for Alexander Albon, spinning off into the gravel on his first lap in the new Toro Rosso in testing. He did do laps for Toro Rosso at the MotoGP track in Valencia. But yeah, very embarrassing, spinning off into the gravel. But this is because of a new rule that I actually forgot about, is that for 2019, tyre blankets are banned. And that's a very important thing for this season, because when it comes to, say, the start of a qualifying lap or the start of a race, having warm enough tyres is going to be a very, very important and key area. And I think we're already seeing that, because Grosjean spun in turn 3 on day 1, and Albon spun straight away on day 2. And I think Kimi Raikkonen's issue on day 1, where he went into the gravel, might have had something to do with that. So keep an eye on that, because it might become quite an important thing as 2019 goes on. But we don't know how important it will be, so let's wait until, say, we get to the actual 2019 season. But for Toro Rosso, the car, when the car is nailed to the track, it does look all right, but I still don't think this car looks that good. In terms of handling, if I'd compare it to the rest of the midfield, I don't think they're looking good at all. It looks a bit snappy, has a bit of understeer, can have a bit of oversteer in some weird parts of the track. So yeah, this Toro Rosso car to me doesn't look that great to drive right now, but maybe they will improve on that in days 3 and 4, and maybe also for the second test. But now, let's go on to the 10th team in Formula 1 that, again, today did not take part in testing. Now, I do have some better news when it comes to Williams. One, apparently, according to some sources, Williams are going to arrive with their car at the track at about 4 to 5 a.m. Local time tomorrow, and then they say that they're probably going to be doing their first laps with the FW42 in the afternoon. So that is good news, but that doesn't make this situation better. It just it shows how bad things have got at Williams. And I do actually have something I want to show you guys, which just illustrates why they aren't ready for testing. And it is an article which I don't know exactly the source of when it comes to the actual article. I saw this on Twitter, or I think Nib sent it to me on Twitter. I'm now going to look through it and read through it and show you guys what this source is saying when it comes to why Williams haven't yet arrived at pre-season testing. So there you go. Let me just read through this now. So this source says, okay, the issue is with the installation of the braking system along with all of the cooling ducts. We are having problems with building the car because of it, and it needs to be redesigned again. That says to me that they've had an issue before this. It says to me that there's been an issue before this with the same thing. So they've redesigned it again before the third redesign, and it still hasn't worked. And then the source says the problem was identified last week. The current plan is to fly the partially built car tomorrow evening, and the car will arrive at the track at 2 a.m. on Wednesday, where we will burn the midnight oils so we can finally hit the track with the FW42 at noon. All the non-problematic parts are boxed and ready to go. That's positive, but this is where it isn't so positive. He says, heard that some Williams trucks have exited the factory. I don't know if the fixed parts are on their way. Probably not yet, but at least something is moving. True. And then you can see there at the bottom why there has been a delay. It was badly designed. It's not a manufacturing issue. The bits aren't aligning properly, and it's impossible to build the braking system. They simply don't fit. So basically what's happened is this this thing they've gone for. Let me just scroll up a minute so I can show what I'm talking about. So when it comes to the braking system, this new thing that they've designed for the car, or just general part they've designed for the car, what's happened is they've probably put it through the CFD models and it's fit, and then they've tried to put it on the real car and it doesn't fit at all. So that says to me correlation issues, because surely for a team like Williams, they would have good enough CFD models, but clearly they don't. This is so embarrassing. So embarrassing. Again, guys, make sure that you are #ClearOut if you do, that is, want Williams to climb out of this absolute hellhole they have found themselves in. But as it says there at the bottom, it was badly designed. Who is the designer of the car? Paddy Lowe. So again, Paddy Lowe has committed what might be a cardinal sin, and there's been plenty of rumours, and I said I actually read an article from Andrew Benson of BBC F1 yesterday, where it talked about that Paddy Lowe's position at the team doesn't look to be really that safe in terms of him staying there for the season. He might resign or he might get sacked. We don't know. But things at this team are really not looking good. Really not looking good. And it seems as though this is what has caused these issues. And I'm sorry, for a team like Williams, this is not good enough. This is not good enough. They have had so many great moments, but also they're such an experienced team. They've had plenty of time to get these types of things sorted out. How have they not? How have they not? Got this sorted out in time. They could have had the whole of 2018 to focus designing the 2019 car, but they're still not ready. I am sorry, that is poor. That is unacceptable. And again, hashtag Claire out. She has to go. And I know you may say, well, yeah, but this, is badly designed and that is Paddy Lowe's area. I think if the Williams car is as bad as insiders at the team say, then yeah, he does have to go. But until then, we can't say whether he does deserve to go or not. But right now, it's clear Claire Williams does have to go because her team should be ready by now for pre-season testing, when for most of 2018, it was a guarantee that her team was going to finish last in the constructors, and they would have had acres of time to work on 2019. There's no excuses, and it comes down to her. She runs the team. It's her fault, and she does have to go. But guys, what do you think about that situation there at Williams as to why they have not yet turned up for testing? And also, what do you think about the teams and how they have performed today in day 2 of preseason testing? Let me know in the chat and also the comment section right now, and I'll try to go through as many comments as I possibly can. But before I do, guys, don't forget to subscribe for more content like this. I will be covering day 3 and day 4 tomorrow, where I will be doing basically the same thing, going live right on when those days of testing finish. So don't forget to subscribe for more content like this. On the bottom right of the screen, you can click subscribe right there, or click on my channel name, go to my channel page and subscribe for more content like this, and also hit the notifications bell so you are notified as to when I do upload. But let me go back to this. I think that pretty much describes Williams' 2019, an absolute joke. There you go. Right. I can already see there are plenty of comments, so let me get into it now. Crystal Racing says Liberty Media won't allow Williams to take a year out. Maybe miss Australia, but no more than that. I'll be honest, if they missed Australia, I don't see how they could honestly continue as a team. Because if you miss one Grand Prix, you're going to be so far behind the other teams, especially considering Williams are basically going to be at the back anyway. If you miss one Grand Prix because of these issues, you're done. You might as well not turn up ever again. So they can't miss a Grand Prix. They've got to get on track and get testing. They have to. They absolutely have to. And also, they cancelled a filming day before testing started because of those issues. What they need to do is try and still do that filming day between testing finishing and the first Grand Prix, so they can get even more running on the car, even though they won't be going at that fast a speed. Running the car is running the car. They need that so desperately. Because honestly, I can see this team turning up tomorrow in the afternoon and crashing straight away, or having a massive engine failure. That's honestly what I can see for this team. By the way, if you're just tuning in and you're wondering why there is I guess a cheeky little advertisement for Colgate on the screen, don't worry, you're not tuning into the wrong stream. Basically, we're talking about the joke that is Williams F1. So don't worry, you are in the wrong. You are in the right place, rather. Right. Let me go through some more Williams comments, shall I? Right. Let me find. John Hubner says they'd be better off sending it to Australia. At least they would be first at something. Oh my. Oh my. By the way, the Williams launch was a 2018 car with a 2019 wing. That's from Crystal Racing. Exactly. We haven't actually seen the 2019 car fully in reality. We haven't actually seen that. The pictures, the studio pictures they showed us on Friday, I think it was, those were computer images or CGI renders. Those were not real. They were not real at all. Joseph Friedman, hashtag Claire out. Good to see. Hashtag Claire out. Someone saying there, I think Williams will disappear for 2021. I doubt they'll have the money to start all over again with a new car design. I think by the end of 2021, they will be gone. Absolutely. I don't see how this team continues. The longer Claire Williams stays at that team, the closer to death they are going to get. And I said that plenty of times yesterday, but it's true. The longer she stays, the worse it is going to get. Right. Crystal Racing says Williams need a proper F1 person like Pat Simmons in charge ASAP. Someone asked me in my day one review in the comments, who would I put in charge of the team who is, you know, in good health and not employed by an F1 team. And one of the names I put in response was Pat Simmons, who was at the team before everything went tits up. Graham Loudon, he has recent F1 experience. He was at Manor. I think he did a pretty good job with what he had. And I even said, if Ross Brawn would come back, I don't think he ever will, but if he would ever come back to an F1 team, that would be great. And I even said a guy like Nick Fry would be better. If you don't know who Nick Fry is, he is the previous team principal at Honda before Ross Brawn came in, and then they became Brawn, and the rest is history. Even Nick Fry would be a better person to run that team than Claire Williams. Nick Fry's track record isn't amazing, but it's a lot better than Claire Williams's is. Right, let me take a look through some more comments. Also, guys, don't forget to give your comments about Ferrari, McLaren, Mercedes, all of those teams. B Barrier, how is McLaren doing? Compared to last year, better, but we don't know how quick they are yet. We need to wait. Pablo says, I don't think it's Claire's fault. It's gonna be the designer of the car that's gonna get it in the air. But of course, she is the face of Williams. All the heat is gonna be on her. When it comes to the design of this certain area, that is Paddy Lowe's area, so that's his fault. But when it comes to getting ready for testing, that is Claire Williams' fault, because she should have that team ready by... She should have had that team ready for testing by, at the absolute latest, the end of last week, say Friday or Saturday. Not, you know, midway through the first test and they still haven't turned up. And we don't know yet if they actually are going to turn up to testing. They've said that they're going to be at testing on Wednesday, but they might not. We don't know. They said they'd be... that they'd make testing on Tuesday, I think they did. And they didn't. So, yeah. Let's see. Right, let me go through a ton more comments. Plenty of comments. Thank you guys for commenting. I'll try to get through as many as I can. Right, let me find some more comments here. Joseph Friedman says, Charles Leclerc did a great job today, almost mirroring Seb in terms of pace. Vettel needs to take him seriously. I think Seb does. And he came out yesterday. He came out yesterday and said, I think Vettel came out yesterday and said that he does view Leclerc as a rival. So he is taking him seriously. But we don't really know how seriously, but I think he should take him seriously because Leclerc is very good. Bristol Racing says Nick Fry is now the head of commercial at an esports team. Okay, but he would, I think people would agree, if you know who he is and his track record, he would be better than Claire Williams. I don't think anyone can really doubt that. MS says, oh my god, what a shame Williams has become to be such an amateur team. Paddy Lowe and Claire Williams should leave immediately. Claire Williams does have to go, but when it comes to Paddy Lowe, let's see how the 2019 car is, and then we will pass judgment. But yeah, if the 2019 car is as bad as they are saying, Paddy Lowe has to go as well. He has to. Bat Boot saying poor George Russell. Absolutely, I do feel very sorry for the drivers. I really do, because you know they put so much effort into getting this seat, especially Robert Kubica. You know, such a great story, returning to Formula One, getting back into a seat, and now his team is woefully underprepared and looks like they're going to be locking out the back row at pretty much every Grand Prix in 2019. That's such a disservice, not only to Kubica, but Russell, because he won the F2 title to get into F1, and now look at the situation he finds himself in. By the way, for B Barrier, who says or asks, who says the 2019 car is bad, if you go back to my day one review, which is in the description, I went through an article by Andrew Benson of BBC F1, and in that article it said that insiders at the team said that the car was, in terms of pace, looking very, very bad on their computer models. So yeah, not looking good for Williams. Right, I'll read out a couple more comments. I do want to, though, bring up this graphic just showing, again, the lap times, but also what tyres they were on when they did those lap times and how many laps the teams did. So I'm going to try and get that up a minute for you guys. Keep asking questions. And again, if you're new to the channel, I will be live again tomorrow at 5 or between 5 and 5:15 p.m. UK time tomorrow and Thursday, reviewing the day's action of pre-season testing. So don't forget to subscribe. At the bottom right of the screen, you can do it right there, or click on my channel name, go to the channel page and subscribe. Right, I found exactly what I'm looking for. Now let me put it on the screen so you guys don't have to look at that picture and get the urge to clean your teeth. Right, hold on a minute, guys. Let me just, there you go. Right, so let me just make this bigger. Right, so if you missed the early part of the stream and you don't know the lap times, I'll go through it again. But now we do have the amount of laps that people did and the compound of tyre they did it on. So Charles Leclerc, 1:18.2, fastest of all on the C3 compound. That's basically the middle compound in between the softest and the hardest. He also did 157 laps. That is very impressive, and I think that is more. Is it more? It's very close with him and Sebastian Vettel as to how many laps they did on their first days of testing. Then Norris, you can see he was on a softer compound, the C4. I'll get into, if you are confused still, I will get into the C3, C4, C2 new tyre compound names. I'll get onto that in just a moment if you are confused. Kevin Magnussen, 59 laps. Now, the reason Kevin Magnussen was replaced by Pietro Fittipaldi in the Haas car at the end of the day was because Kevin Magnussen had a seat fit issue. So Fittipaldi took over in the last hour of the day. So that's why he only did 59 laps. And also, I noticed Haas took a picture of Kevin Magnussen posing in his new race suit, and I thought he looked a bit fat, to be honest. So that might be what it is. He might be a bit too heavy right now. Hopefully not. But there you go. And then Albon, 132 laps. Pretty good considering he spun at the start of the day. And also C4, so he was on a softer compound. So was Giovinazzi, 101 laps. And then Bottas, 89 laps. All the rest of the drivers down from Bottas on the C3. But Mercedes did around about the same, if not slightly more than Leclerc did in the Ferrari. It's very close. I don't know exactly how many laps Mercedes did. But then Gasly, 92, but did crash with about an hour and a half to go, so he could have gone over 100 quite easily. Hulkenberg, 95. Ricciardo, only 28 because his rear wing fell off. Hamilton, 74. Stroll, 79 laps. And yep, they were definitely doing race simulations. I don't think the racing point is that slow. And then Fittipaldi, 121.8 and only 13 laps. And again, if you're still unsure, that is the explanation of the tyres. So C1 is the hardest tyre, and then C5 is the softest, and the C2, C3 and C4, I think you can pretty much make it up for yourself. But that is basically the most simple explanation as to these new tyres. But I'll just scroll up like that. And yeah, there you go. Those are the times, the amount of laps, the compounded tyre they were done on. And again, guys, I know I read out plenty of comments about Williams. Now, so I can read out plenty of comments about these teams that actually did compete in testing today. Let me know what you thought of these teams in testing. How do you think Ferrari are looking? Mercedes, Red Bull, Honda, McLaren, Renault? Let me know what you think right now in the chat and also the comment section, and I'll try to get through as many comments as I possibly can in the next 10 minutes or so. So make sure to load up the chat and also the comment section as well. And let me now get into reading through your comments. Right, so Motorsport Tube says McLaren are not as bad as I thought. McLaren again are looking better than they were this time last year in terms of reliability, most importantly, but also the way the car looks on track. To me, it does look a bit better. Ricardo says, what is the fastest tyre? The fastest tyre used today was the C4, but again, the fastest possible tyre is the C5. So think of it as the C5 is basically last year's Hypersoft, C4 is last year's Ultrasoft, C3 is last year's Supersoft, C2 is last year's Soft, and then C1 is last year's Medium. So forget, the hard tyre and all of that. That's pretty much, when it comes to how soft the compounds are, that's pretty much what it is. But the only real difference is, again, when I scroll down, the colouring of the tyres is different. So the hardest tyre is the white without brackets, and then the softest is the red without brackets, and then everything in between you can see. Again, I will scroll up. No problem, Ricardo. Stella says Ferrari look durable. Also, we can't ignore Ricardo's DRS failure today. No, we can't. I made sure to I made sure to mention that. I think what that is maybe there is a slight design fault on the rear wing with the Renault, because again, the rear wings for 2019 are new. They have to be slightly wider and slightly taller, and the gap for the DRS opening is bigger. So I think it might be just a design fault with the Renault rear wing. Crystal Racing, the continuity of the tech regs has close to pack up, but Ferrari have found the zone in their development cycle. Yeah, I think the pack is closer, but I don't think it is much closer. I think the midfield, to me, look about, so far, if I'm going to be optimistic, I'd say half a second closer, but still, that's not that great. You're not really going to see a midfield team really compete with a top team. Maybe you'll see one of them get a podium if we get a crazy enough Grand Prix, but the midfield is closer, but not close enough where we can really start getting excited. Ben McCarthy, what is your favourite livery? My favourite livery is the Mercedes. The Ferrari, though, I will say, in the sunshine, really does look good with that new matte livery that they do have. It really does look good. And also, just to let you guys know, I will be doing a poll on the day 4 review, which you guys can vote on, and then I will try to post that on the screen for you guys on the day 4 review, so you can see the results of what you guys voted for. So I'll make sure to post that sometime during the day, and then again you guys can vote, and then I'll reveal the results of what you guys think at the end of the day 4 review. Ray says, where is Max Verstappen? Max Verstappen did testing yesterday. Today was Pierre Gasly, so Max will be in the car tomorrow. Fat Boot says Ferrari and Mercedes looking good on race trim, so are Red Bull. Haas is looking good. Alfa Romeo looking reasonably good. Renault not bad, but not front runner. McLaren also not bad. You have pretty much summed up my feelings so far. I will say the Ferrari powered cars look the most impressive out of what I have seen so far. They look the most impressive. Toy Truck saying Gasly is my turbo driver this year. Also, I want to let you guys know I will be setting up a fantasy F1 league. Before the season starts, I'll set it up the weekend before the first race, so the 9th and 10th of March. I'll set it up that weekend, and I'll probably try and do it live on stream if I can. And then you guys can join that and try and win it. Right. Let me find some more comments. I'm going to try and include the best comments I can. Simon Cragling, Leclerc very close to Vettel's time. Yes, he was. He's about, I think, a 10th and a half. I can't exactly remember Vettel's time. I know it was an 18-1. But yeah, he's about a 10th off. Hopefully, we see him get a bit closer. That'd be very interesting. Stella, what do you think of Ricciardo's DRS failure? I've already explained. I think it's a design fault of the Renault rear wing. You know, new regulations when it comes to the rear wing. These things are inevitable, so that's what I think it. Was. Jay Crail says, as long as none of the teams are getting engine problems, it's all good. Reliability is the key. I will say as well, the reliability of these 2019 cars has been very good. The only cars that have broken down were Kimi Raikkonen at the end of day 1, and Grosjean broke down in the final chicane. during day one as well. And Ricciardo, I guess you can count that as reliability, but it's not the type of reliability we are talking about. His was more of a manufacturing issue instead of, you know, power unit failure or stuff like that. Yeah, reliability from the teams is looking very, very good. Right, let me find some more comments. F1 Simulator Maniac, what do you guys think about the Honda engine so far? Looking good, looking good. I didn't think they would be this good with their reliability after 2 days. I thought they would have had, and I think I even said in my pre-season preview for Red Bull that they are going to break down guaranteed in the first couple days or even the first day, and they haven't broke down with a reliability issue yet. So they are really looking good so far. And who knows, maybe Red Bull could have a very successful 2019. Tonka Toy Truck, Honda is looking like they are going to get Red Bull closer to Ferrari and Mercedes, hopefully so. Right, just scrolling up to see if I've missed any comments. I probably have. Bristol Racing says impressed with Giovinazzi and Alfa today. I'll be honest, I was more impressed by Raikkonen in the Alfa yesterday than I was today by Giovinazzi. Mainly, to be honest, because Raikkonen did his lap time on a harder compound and Giovinazzi was on a softer compound. I know you can't read that much into times, but they do mean something more than nothing. You know, they don't mean absolutely nothing. I mean, of course, it doesn't set the grid or anything, but in terms of detecting who is quick and who is not, you can spot a couple interesting points in there. Jay Crail says they're all sandbagging, in my opinion. Well, they're definitely not. None of the teams are pushing as hard as they could possibly go. I'm sure Ferrari could go a lot faster than a low 1 minute 18. I know we can't read. I know we can't read much out of testing, but McLaren is promising. Again, they look better than this time last year after the first 2 days of testing in 2018. And I said this in the build-up to this season, as long as 2019 is progress compared to 2018, that is all that matters. As long as it's better than 2018, at least McLaren are actually going in a positive direction and aren't going backwards. That's all that matters. Right. I'm gonna read out, I think, a couple more comments, and then I will come to the end of the stream here. Thank you guys, by the way, for coming along, and also, if you are new to the channel, thank you so much for subscribing. We are almost now at 2.3k, so thank you very much. I really do appreciate it. And if you are new, don't forget to subscribe and join the great community here on the channel. Oscar Shen, how is Williams doing? I think you know the answer to that. Tonka Toy Truck says Albon is undervalued. Gina says Williams fastest tomorrow. That would be something to talk about. What do you think? This is from Wakanda Forever. What do you think about Stroll's lack of pace and Ferrari showing a really strong car pace with racing qualifying things? I don't... You guys know I don't like Lance Stroll, but Racing Point definitely are doing a race simulation. There's no way they're that slow. So I'm not going to, hammer the guy because, I think Racing Point are doing a race simulation, so let's not jump the gun when it comes to that. But yeah, Ferrari are looking very strong, and right now, after 2 days of testing, I don't really see how anyone else can so far really disagree. Ferrari at the moment do look like the team to beat, not because they finished fastest on both days, but because of the way their car handles on track. It's the best looking car on track when it comes to the handling of the car. And they do look very strong. And we'll see what they can do tomorrow with Sebastian Vettel at the wheel. But someone's saying Williams will be fastest tomorrow. They are getting a fatty turbo upgrade. Or did you say ungrade? He said ungrade. I think he means upgrade though. Right, I'm going to read out one more comment. And it goes to Crystal Racing, actually, who says, just imagine Williams pulling off a Brawn. That would be incredible. That would, if they did that, I would willingly admit that I was wrong and I would bow down at the feet of Claire Williams if that did happen, but I don't think it will. But if it did, I would be the first one to say that I was wrong. Absolutely. But there you go. There is your day 2 results. And guys, thank you very much for coming along for the day 2 review of preseason testing in 2019. And again, if you are new to the channel, don't forget to subscribe for more content like this. I will be doing a day 3 and day 4 review live at the same time tomorrow between 5 PM and 5:15 PM UK time. So don't forget to subscribe. Bottom right of the screen, you can do it right there by clicking subscribe. Or click on my channel name, go to my channel page and subscribe and hit the notifications bell so you are notified as to when those streams are live. And as well, like this video, comment down below what you thought of this video, and comment down below what did you think of the teams in day 2 of testing, and what do you think of the ongoing situation again at Williams, and who do you think when it comes to Williams not being ready for testing yet, who shares the blame in your opinion? Is it Claire Williams? Is it Paddy Lowe? Let me know in the comment section down below. As well, don't forget to join my Discord server, link below in the description. That's the best place to get notifications for my videos. The YouTube notification system is quite frankly crap. So Discord, that server which now has over 100 people in it, and the community is really growing, and it's great to see people in there during the days of testing. Very interactive. So if you do want to interact with people who love Formula 1 during testing tomorrow and on day 4 and also in the second test, then make sure to join the server because it is very interactive right now, and also it is the best place to get notifications for my videos. And don't forget to follow me on Twitter at Chaz6110, a great place to keep up to date with me and what I'm doing, and again when it comes to when I upload videos or go live. And also check out my website chazerhd.com for more content like this. But until guys, day 3 of preseason testing in 2019 and the review for that tomorrow at around 5 PM UK time, it's been me, ChazerHD. Goodbye.